Good evening and welcome to ISM Final Presentation Night. My name is Madison Levy and I have been studying business finance this year. So I just want to thank all of you for coming tonight and especially my mentor, Corey Kim. So thank you so much for all your guidance throughout this year and for coming this evening. And I hope you all enjoy my presentation and my ISM journey. So starting off this year, the quote I picked to kind of go with what it is I wanted to achieve this year was often the difference between a successful person and a failure is not that one has better abilities or ideas, but the courage that one has to bet on one's ideas, to take a calculated risk, and to act. So I think for me, that quote just kind of emphasizes how I wanted to look at this year, because ISM is not really a class that you're required to take. It's something that I decided to take on my own, and it just kind of emphasizes how there's a difference between the people who take their ideas and act on them versus the people who will do nothing with their ideas and just let them kind of set back and just have them always kind of sitting there. So I think ISM was my chance to take a calculated risk and to act on it. So moving on, a little bit about me is I'm a senior here at Frisco High School. I currently have a job at Nothing Bent Cakes. I would like to major in finance. I don't really know specifically if that's what I'm going to do, but I'm hoping to find that out over the next 4 years of school. So some activities that I have participated in is I have cheered all throughout high school, and I do have some community service involvement. I'm in Junior Frisco Women's League, and I really enjoy that kind of aspect outside of school, so that's something that's a lot of fun for me. How I got interested in finance. I'm pretty good at math, so that's kind of what led me in that direction. I love working with numbers and I enjoy equations and solving problems. So I thought finance would be a really good basis for me to look at for this year, just to kind of understand it better and to see if there's something else I might be interested in, to see if it's something I'd like to continue looking at. So some of my strengths are I'm hardworking, I'm focused, and I love challenges. So what exactly is finance? The definition of finance is it is the management of large amounts of money, especially by governments or large companies. So some jobs involved in finance, you can be chief financial officer, a financial analyst, an accountant, a financial advisor, investment banking, or commercial banking. So those are some areas that you can go into with finance if you get a degree in it. And over the course of this year, we took a lot of assessments. So one of my first ones that I ever did was my career outlook. And in that outlook, I studied the outlook of jobs in finance. And it kind of just explained what jobs are going to become more available over the next few years, such as accounting, jobs in the mortgage industry, and it really emphasized how the economy influences financial jobs. So I think that was just a good basis for me to look at, to kind of take that in the beginning and to move on from there as I keep going. So it just kind of gave me some oversight of finance. So starting off with this year, we started off with our informational interviews. For me personally, I completed 6 informational interviews, and to start off the process, I tried to do some cold calls, which were not exactly the best choice for me. I did not have a lot of success there. I didn't really know what I was doing on the phone, and I tried to follow the script, and then I was forgetting information that was important, such as my number, where to call me back, so did not get any responses. So after that, I switched to email, which gave me much better responses, and I decided to stick with it because people were really quick, and it was a much better option for me personally. So from there, I sent out 7 emails and I received 6 responses, and that's what started the interview process for me. So the first person I met with was Lisa Thompson. She is the managing director of personal services at Pearson Partners International, and her previous work pretty much focuses on counseling. And when I met with her, I kind of realized that the job that she does is not really something that I'd like to do. She pretty much just takes professionals in the business world and kind of tries to improve their resumes and themselves when they're applying for jobs to make themselves look better. And I just didn't really think that that was something I specifically wanted to do. That's just not the area of business I want to be in. So I did have a really great interview, and it was my first one, so I was really nervous. But I think overall it went pretty well, and it just gave me some great experience starting off the process. Moving on, I met with Drew Mitchell, who is the Chief Revenue Officer of the Texas Legends. And meeting with him was a little bit different. We met in the lobby area of the building, which was kind of different. It was very informal, but I really enjoyed it. He gave me some great information and really told me to just build as much experience as I can. which I think is great for ISM because that's kind of what I'm doing. So I really enjoyed that interview, and it was a lot of fun, and I'm starting to become a lot more relaxed with the whole interview process. So next I met with Bud Applebaum, which was kind of a big flip from Drew. He is in private equity at Wingate Partners LP, and I had a really great interview with him. He was much more into telling me all about private equity, what's involved in it, the differences between private and public equity, and he kind of just outlined the process of buying and investing in a business as much as he could in the time limit that we had. So for me personally, this was by far my best interview. I really enjoyed it. It was something that I was really interested in, and he just gave me a lot more information than anyone else had, specifically about what he does. So for me personally, I really enjoyed that one, and he was someone I was really considering for the mentor. And moving on, I met with MJ Spence for my fourth person, who works at the Frisco Chamber of Commerce. She's the Vice President of Membership, and she kind of just told me about what she does. So she helps businesses connect with each other in Frisco, and her past experience includes real estate. And MJ Spence, so she was really nice to meet with too. Everybody I met with was really, really nice and very open to meeting with me. And she just kind of outlined how she helps Frisco with the businesses and how she kind of helps them interact with each other and connect to each other. And I didn't really think that that was something I specifically wanted to do either. And especially including she has past work in real estate, and I don't really want to do real estate. But overall, it was still a great experience, and I really enjoyed talking with her, although I just did not think that that was the area I wanted to focus on for this year. My fifth interview was Shauna Massey, who works at Green Bank. She's in banking, and she is the one that does loans for expanding companies, and she builds their portfolios for the bank when they present the loans. And meeting with Shauna was definitely a little bit different. Green Bank is a smaller bank, and she was a lot of fun to talk to. She was really passionate about what she does. She loves what she does, and I could really tell based on the way she talked about it. So this interview was really interesting for me. I do enjoy the whole banking side of everything, so it was very interesting to hear what she does, and I really enjoyed this interview. And my last interview was with Corey Kim. Corey works for Ryan. She is a principal in the firm, and she focuses on sales and use tax, and I did pick her to be my mentor. So a little bit more about Corey is that she graduated from Texas A&M, specializing in accounting, and her previous work experience includes the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts, and currently she works for Ryan, which a little bit about Ryan, they provide comprehensive range of state, local, federal, and international tax advisory and consulting services on a multi-jurisdictional basis, including audit defense, tax recovery, credits and incentives, tax process improvement, automation, tax appeals, tax compliance, and strategic planning. So Ryan does a lot of different stuff with tax. And my specific mentor, she focuses on the sales and use tax side of it. So she specifically specializes in providing multi-jurisdictional transaction tax services, including audit defense representation, tax recovery, research, and education to clients in a variety of industries. And for me, Corey was someone I could easily meet with. She was a very relaxed setting, and she provided me a lot of information, so I thought she would be a really great mentor when I picked her. So learning from my interviews, overall, stuff that all of the people really, really emphasized was I really need to build relationships and network as much as possible. Those were the key points that everyone kept telling me. So I think ISM is a great start for that for me. It has allowed me to build relationships with people in all different industries and network all over the place, really. People also told me I need to have confidence, challenge myself, and business is obviously all about the connections. So I think these interviews definitely helped me build my confidence going into the next 4 years, which I'm going to do many more interviews. So I think it was a really great experience for me to learn about the whole interview process and meeting with people I'm unfamiliar with in unfamiliar settings. Next up, I completed various research assessments. So most of my research assessments included articles from Forbes, Bloomberg, Businessweek, Harvard Business School, and Yahoo Finance. Most of them focus on investing money, such as what to avoid, what to invest in, and one of the keys is building a strong portfolio. I need to pay attention to trends in the stock market, and they also kind of tell me about how you value a business. So for my original work, the basis of what I was doing is I was looking at a small business for sale, picking one I'm interested in, and finding out if it would be a smart buy. So what I did with my original work is I created a presentation on how to decide whether or not you should buy a business while completing the entire process myself. So my original work. My original work is considerations in the decision to buy and value a small business. The overview of my original work is the purpose of this presentation is to introduce basic concepts and valuation methodologies when considering the purchase of a small business. And for my specific presentation, I'm going to use examples of small businesses for sale listed on bizbuysell.com, and they are of less than $250,000 of revenue. And for this presentation, I did not sign an NDA, and I'm only using the data listed on bizbuysell.com, which pretty much just means everything I talk about is not confidential. So I'm free to talk about it how I want. And as a result, my evaluation methodology of the specific businesses will only allow me to decide if I should consider getting more information and signing the NDA. So this is kind of just the general process of valuing and buying a business. It kind of just outlines the entire process of it all. So, and here's where I'm actually going to do it. So deciding which business is the right one. You have to consider your strengths and weaknesses and how you can add to the value to the business you're considering. And so value is best defined as value equals service divided by cost. So I believe for me, my previous existing experience at Nothing Bundt Cakes gave me a lot of experience to choose a business that was focused on a bakery. So I did end up deciding to choose a bakery because I felt I could add to it because I do already have experience in it. And I felt it important based on my research that I have an interest in the business and knowledge of the business. So some things to consider are my finances. A small business transaction of less than $250,000 in revenue will likely be valued in a manner that will allow me to find sufficient financing from friends, family, and my own savings. So in other words, a transaction of less than $250,000 in revenue is going to be a small business that would be somewhat affordable for someone like me. Obviously, I would need outside help if I was actually going to do it, but it's going to be a small enough business where it would be possible. So the goal in purchasing a bakery would be to find a business that would allow me to generate additional profitability through improvements in service, cost reduction, and higher quality. Some research things to consider are the marketplace. In considering the marketplace, Frisco and Collin County have excellent demographics that include high family gross income, fast growth, low unemployment, growing infrastructure. They have a youthful population and shopping centers with a big brand presence and reasonable retail rents. So in other words, Frisco and Collin County are a great place to start a business or to buy one that already exists and to grow it. And so specifically the marketplace, where the location of the bakery that I specifically look at falls on the line dividing McKinney and Frisco, which is going to allow me to access business from our customers from both parts of Collin County. So McKinney, some small facts about McKinney is just their median age is going to be 32. The population growth from 2002 to 2014 is 160%, and high school graduate or higher is 92%, bachelor's degree or higher is 46%, and for Frisco, the population growth from 2000 to 2009 is 247%. So in other words, there are a lot of people and a lot of people moving to Frisco and McKinney, so it's a great place to just grow a business in general. So understanding the target business. Some things to consider are just how long have they been in business? What is their reputation with customers, vendors, and the community at large? What are the reasons for selling? How long have they been at their current location? Is the location adequate for growth and expansion? Is it a franchise? How much inventory is required? And the purchase price is obviously especially important. So the business specifically being considered is a growing specialty bakery based in Collin County. We believe that it is Sweet Art Bakery in McKinney, Texas. Because I have not signed the NDA, the name is not disclosed to you. So that is the one that we believe it is based off the website, the pictures provided. It was just something we could kind of assume. So specifically, Sweet Art Bakery was a business established in 2007. It is not a franchise. It is a single owner. The business is open until 4 p.m. daily and 2 p.m. on Saturdays. They have little advertising, good ratings, a nice website, and they relocated in 2012. So based off this, it looks like a pretty good business. They have a good reputation, they have good ratings, so it seems like a good start. So here is the information that bizbuysell.com provided us. It gave us the asking price, which is $125,000. Their gross income is $213,000. Their cash flow is $44,175. And the furniture, fixtures, and equipment is $750, which is included in the asking price. And it tells you the inventory is $22,740, which a key point here is it says this is not included in the asking price. So in other words, you need to add $22,740 to the asking price. And in addition, the rent is $27,000 annually, and they have a triple net lease. So a simple financial valuation, what we're going to do with this business is we are going to divide the asking price and the free cash flow, which the asking price is 2.8 times free cash. Generally, anything under 3 is considered fair, so that's going to be a pretty good number. And the FF&E, which is the furniture, fixtures, and equipment, appears to be insignificant. However, it appears that this number is understated based on my personal experience at Nothing Bundt Cakes, because it doesn't make sense that the number is so low considering they have so many ovens, prep tables, refrigerators, and freezers. So there might be something missing, or maybe they have it included in inventory, but that's kind of just an area that we need to keep an eye on. So an additional way of looking at this business would be to use a complete discounted cash flow model, which would require more detailed financials. So in other words, I could not complete that part of it all without signing the NDA. So here is the actual bakery. I went and visited it so I could see where it was in the specific location. So that is the storefront. And that's the inside of the bakery and their hours. So their hours are not really looking that great. They are closed on Sundays and Mondays, which is a little odd that they're closed 2 days in a row, and they're missing a pretty good day on Monday. And their hours are also very limited. So they're only open 9 to 4 on Tuesday to Friday, and then on Saturdays they're only open to 2, which is even odder considering Saturday is a bigger day for business, especially for bakeries. So some conclusions that I have reached is after evaluating the financials of the business being considered, as well as visiting the business, I have come to the conclusion that the business would not be the best investment for me. So the location, after visiting the bakery, it's poorly located off of a main road. It has a good location in the sense that it is off of a big road, but it's kind of hidden away. You wouldn't really see it just driving by, so it's not just going to attract customers who would just be driving by, see a bakery, and stop in to buy something. They also have a very large storefront and a small kitchen area, which seems a little backwards for a bakery. And I believe with the right location, the bakery does have great potential, but it would require a new location that would bring in more customers. And in order to do that, it could be extremely costly because of the lease agreements. So if they have 2 years left on the lease, it's going to cost you over $50,000 to get out of it. Also, the bakery has some other areas it's lacking in. Like I said, it closes at 4 p.m. each day and 2 p.m. on Saturdays, so it's losing a lot of business just through that. Due to the short hours, the store is also losing their rush hour customers that would pick up a dessert on the way home. So increasing hours could be difficult because it could be hard to keep the current staff. They don't have a lot of staff right now, and the staff they do have are just part-time. So it would be really hard to increase those hours considering they've been working for the current owners for a long time, and they already know when it is that they want to work. As far as advertising goes, the bakery has very little advertising, which would require the new owner to put more money to increase it with promotions and other stuff like that, but that could decrease free cash flow, but as a result could increase cash flow due to the promotion. So it's kind of a give and take relationship with advertising. So that's something that could be an area of concern. And so that was my original work on the evaluation of a small business. And moving on to my ISM final product. My introduction is throughout this presentation, I hope to achieve a better understanding of where it is I want to go after college. I'm going to evaluate the differences between small, medium, and large businesses, along with government jobs, to determine what each one has to offer following the completion of school. It is not an all-inclusive list, but is a broader view of general-sized businesses. And in order to complete this product, I'm going to use the help of the internet, along with the personal experiences of my mentor, Corey Kim, to reach my conclusions. So public versus private. There are two types of businesses. So starting off with public, they have shares that can be publicly traded on a stock market. To be listed on a major exchange, they must have more than 400 shareholders. So it's going to be a pretty big business. The board of directors is accountable to shareholders. They typically have $500 million or more in revenue, great exposure to all industries, and they have audited financials. But the key point is they have great exposure to all industries, so if you're looking for exposure, public could be a great option. So private, the shares of a company the shares of the company are not publicly listed. They are held by a few people or a private equity firm. It is often backed by private equity firms. They have less regulation oversight, and they're typically going to have less than $500 million in revenue. And they are likely to have unaudited financials, and it's harder to obtain information about the business if they are private, considering they keep their financials private. So the different businesses defined. A small business is going to have the highest risk, but possibly the highest reward, and they're going to have less than $50 million in revenue. The thing with a small business is it is going to have really high risk, but if you pick the right one and someone you think is going to be really successful with their business, the growth of it could be dramatically, it could be really, really great, which is going to be a great opportunity to make money. A medium business is going to be lower risk, but not as much as with a small business. It does still have room to grow, and it's more established than a small business, which is why it has lower risk. And private medium-sized businesses are going to have less than $500 million in revenue. Public medium-sized businesses may be up to $3 billion in revenue. So there is a dramatic difference between private and public businesses, but medium businesses are still going to be a great opportunity. They are still going to grow. So you do have the opportunity to make money off of a company that's going to grow, and it is more established. It's just not going to be as dramatic as if you did choose a small business that grows a lot. So a large business is going to be low risk, but with large businesses it's harder to stand out, and there is less potential for growth, and they typically have more than $1 billion in revenue. So large businesses, if you're coming out of college, they could be a great opportunity because there is not risk, and you do have the opportunity to just get experience with them, but it's really not going to grow much for you, and it's very hard to stand out. And the last one is going to be government jobs. Government jobs kind of have a negative perception, which has a lot to do with the fact that they do pay less, but they offer great training and opportunity to learn. So if you're looking for the training and opportunity to really learn about your specific industry or area, government jobs have great programs for that. So expanding on that, small businesses are going to have less infrastructure and less support. It has to be built after the business is established. They generally offer experience in more areas, and they're often capital constrained or cash flow issues because they're so small. They can be very high risk, but may offer huge potential for faster personal growth. Small public companies tend to struggle in slow growth environments, so that's kind of another point to pay attention to, because if the economy is moving slowly, then small businesses may not be the best area to go into. And for example, Ryan is an example of a private small business, or they were when they started. It began as a small private company and is now considered medium-sized with international offices, and it remains private. So where my mentor works, which is Ryan, when she began there, it was extremely small, and now is international. It is very large, or it's actually considered medium, but it is very large. And they have offices all over the world. And so with that company, it has just grown so much. So if you do pick a small business that's right, it does have that opportunity for growth. Small business maturation startup is up to $2 million in revenue and minimal earnings, $2 million to $5 million with normalized earnings of 5 to 8%, $5 million to $10 million with normalized earnings of 5 to 8%, and then there's over $10 million. So those are the different startups with small businesses. And as a small business matures, its ability to generate earnings increases the stability of the business. allowing for greater reinvestment, borrowing, and eventually additional equity can be sold at higher valuations. So small business maturation is just kind of the growth of the business, so it does have that opportunity to grow. Medium business. Medium business is obviously more established. It does have infrastructure. They have improved processes with improved training programs. They have an HR department, new policies, and offer online training courses. So they have a lot more within the business to offer than a small business does, and they can provide someone coming in out of college with more training programs and opportunities to learn than a small business could. But a small business is going to provide you more areas to learn in. A medium business is lower risk, and it obviously does still have potential for growth. So employees have the opportunity to make an impact and stand out, which is really important for someone coming out of college, because you do want to go in and make an impact and stand out, which is going to be a lot harder at a large business. So a medium business kind of gives you that opportunity of less risk, but you still have the chance to really stand out among other people. And like I said, Ryan is currently a medium-sized company that when it first began, they had no infrastructure, no training programs, and no HR department. And as the company grew, it became more established, and it did have the ability to expand and grow, both as an international business and within its own office to create new employee programs. And my mentor also played a really big role in this area of Ryan as well. She helped create some of the training programs that exist still today and some of the infrastructure. So working for a small business that turns into a medium-sized company does give you a lot of opportunity to stand out and make an impact on the business. And large business. So large business offers great pay right out of school, not much opportunity for promotion. So in other words, you have to wait for a position to open up in order for you to get one. There is no risk, it's very established, and the expectations of you are going to be very high. Often after a few years, either you're going to receive a promotion or get fired. That's just kind of how it goes with large businesses. They're going to work you really, really hard, and either you're going to get that promotion and continue on, or you're going to have to find another job. Like I said, it's difficult to make an individual impact, which kind of ties together with the promotion or getting fired. It's hard to get considered for executive positions without experience in any of the big four accounting firms, which are Deloitte, KPMG, Ernst & Young, and PricewaterhouseCoopers. So in other words, if you're coming out of college and you're an accountant major, it's pretty important to get experience in one of those big four accounting firms if you can, because if you'd ever like to have executive positions later on, you're going to have some experience in at least one of those four. Lastly, government jobs. Within the government sector, the following jobs with similar business skill sets can be found. So you can get a job budget, finance, audit, tax, debt, procurement, supply chain, kind of goes on, and available at all levels of the government. So you can find these jobs both municipal, county, state, federal, government authorities, which is like North Texas Tollway Association, and education, and there are many, many more. So you can find jobs kind of within whatever level of the government you're looking for, whether it is the state level or the federal level or even the county and municipal. So for government jobs, they can be either unionized, civil service, or non-unionized. Unionized/civil service offer greater security, but they may be subject to seniority or other policies that could be detrimental to a younger employee. So you might not want to go into unionized civil service right out of college because of that whole seniority issue. And non-unionized is going to be very similar to private sector jobs, both large, medium, and small, depending on the size of the government entity. So non-unionized is quite possibly the better option coming out of college. And typically, government jobs offer good benefits and market-based pay, and they have good training. So the pay may not be as high as if you do go into a medium or large business or even a small business, but the training they can provide is very, very good. Any questions about it? Cool. All right. So my journey through ISM. Throughout ISM, I feel I have learned really great communication skills. I have become so much more comfortable in work environments and going through interviews, and I'm going to continue to apply the skills I have learned through this class through the next phase of my life in college and following school when I enter the workforce. I believe I can apply my final product to my life once I'm looking for a job after school and don't really know what job I'd like. It kind of just gives me the outline of finding what area or what size of business I'd like to go into. So I think I can really apply that to the next 4 years of my life and after. and I am attending the University of Texas in Austin in the fall of 2015. I am majoring in business,